Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Dean from the Rising Sun podcast. So coming up, it's episode number 5 with Aaron Paul. So in this episode, we talked about his recent selection as a command senior chief, and I told him how proud I was of him. We talked about his recent work in the last 2 years with Navy Wounded Warrior and the experience that he's had rolling through that. And then we talked about the future for him, what he's looking forward to in the next assignment. And, we talked about life. We caught up. We talked about history and the fact that we're living in history right now. And, we rounded it up with talking about some of those sorry sports teams that he follows. So, without further ado, episode number 5, Aaron Paul. Stay tuned. The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and not of DoD or any of its components.
Take me to the countryside. Gotta get out of these city lights. Drinking my cup, got me feeling right. Gotta get out of these city lights.
All right, dude.
Hey, man. We're live. Hey, man. Weapons free, man.
Good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm living good.
Yeah, I see you. What are you drinking? You drinking like the Rocks energy drink, the Zoa shit or something?
Pina Colada 3D.
Okay.
I don't know. I saw it. I was like, that looks like a something in a rapper we had in high school. You know what I'm saying?
I can't talk shit. I'm drinking Irish cream latte.
Whatever. I almost bought some Guinness today. I was like, nah, I'm getting my cardio and all this stuff, and I felt it when I don't eat right. So
Yeah.
nah, then man, just kind of like, okay, I got it. Fine. I won't drink it.
Yeah.
So, I'm in the Audacious Black Girl studio this evening. I got her
Oh,
on
there you
tomorrow,
go.
so
There you go. That's awesome,
keeping
dude.
the seat warm for her until she gets to you and Matt. So
I tell you, man, that was I wish I'd have had more time, and that's why I wanted to bring her on, is because literally I jammed in 30 minutes. I was like, look, guys, I'm sorry. I know you are busy too. I was like, but I got 30 minutes to do this. Close my office door, and we're talking about some deep stuff, right? I'm like,
yeah,
all right. We gotta go, and but just even that 30 minutes was so insightful for the conversation that Matt and I had, right? And it wasn't just the podcast. It really inspired, I think, some reflection on both of our parts, right? And so, anyways, yeah, I appreciate it, man. I told her already, but I guess I'll tell you too. So
she has that effect. She's a daily reminder. Yeah, she's good. I'm like, yes, yes. You guys remind me about that too.
Though, right? Yeah.
She makes
I
me better.
appreciate it, man.
She's made me better, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what we should all hope for, I was talking about last night, mommy, first of all, how she puts up with my bullshit is beyond me. But, but she has for all these years, and, there ain't no telling where I'd be without that woman, man. I'm already a idiot, and if I didn't have her, there ain't no telling.
So, y'all been together pretty much your entire time in the Navy, short of your first tour, or has it been
Not even
boot camp first?
Yeah, we got married in 2003, so got to Japan in 2001. Yeah, I mean, look, I joke with the kids. The first time I asked mommy to marry me, she said no. She was like, I've only known you 3 months. No, I'm not marrying you. And I cried, and I was like, and
Go for an answer.
yeah, but then I was like, okay, bet. All right, I'm gonna do this the right way. And we dated for about a year, in total. And then when I proposed to her the next time, she said yes. So, and then we've been together since, man. Got married in 2003, so we're going on 20 years, man. It'd be 19 this year, 20 next year. So it's kind of wild, man. But she's a saint, dude. She's got her ticket punched. She's going straight. When she starts coming up the pearly gates and be like, oh, yeah, come on in. Yeah, we've been expecting you. We got a spot reserved for you over here. So,
Yeah.
anyways. Hey, man, I just want to say congratulations real quick. Command C in Chief, Select, Aaron, fucking Paul. What's up, dude? Huh?
It's unreal, man.
Yeah.
It's unreal. It's like I saw the message and I'm like, and then I come in the next day. So I got a retired Mass Chief, John Schwanke. He's a Seventh Fleet vet, right?
Yeah,
And I got a
FCCM,
retired
right?
gunny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got a retired gunny in my office. So I come upstairs and I see these footprints, and they got like all types of crap plastered everywhere. The CMC, I'm like, all right, number one, I ain't no CMC. It'll be Command C. You trying to get me hemmed up before I even get to put the badge on, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they got all plastered everywhere, like, oh, well, he doesn't work anymore here. I'm like, all right, cool.
All
You
right.
know,
I see what y'all are doing.
there's a rubber chicken in my office too.
Yeah, I mean, do you sometimes allow your customers to use it as like a stress relief? Like,
I had it in a couple times. They're like, what's that? I'm like, long story.
yeah,
But then after a while, sometimes the conversations, they start opening up. I'm like, I already make sure I'm present and they really know that I'm taking their concerns serious. So, I just kind of like put them under the desk,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Hell yeah,
Marine comes in, I kind of throw it at them, but that's about it. But yeah, but it's been surreal, man, with the command senior chief. We talked about it. And one of the last things you gave me before we left Yokosuka, you gave me some anchors. Like, hey, man, look, you give me two screws. Like, yo, bro, just stick with it, man.
yeah,
You're a late bloomer. You can go. You can hit the stride. I was like, yeah, whatever.
yeah,
And then here we are. Boom, 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 boom. Manda always brings up that phone call when I picked up Senior Chief and you call me.
yeah.
It was
Don't
crazy
get me in
early.
trouble, man. Don't get me in trouble, okay? Don't get me in trouble. That's between us, bro.
Yo, yeah, the
My
PG
bad,
13,
my bad, my bad, my bad.
the PG 13. You was like pretty much like, man, hey, Eric, my mother, you my guy. I was like,
My dude.
and Amanda's like, that dude loves you. I was like, must be. He called me like 6 in the morning. So yeah,
Yeah,
hey
man.
man,
I'll tell you, it's like you know, go back to 2018 and we had this conversation and um, you know, that's how long it took to come to fruition, right? But your timing had to be almost exactly what we talked about back in 2018. And it's funny how like it's almost like between especially you did the work, right? But between those conversations and the support that you got from a lot of people, like it's almost like we talked your current situation into existence, right? Like you put in the work, but also like you visualized it, and the visualization is what got you there. It feels like. Does that make sense?
we kind of chartered, and not time cliche, but kind of charted the course, charted the path. You're like, listen, if this is gonna happen, one, two, and three is gonna have to happen in succession. And then, you ever read that book, The Secret, or seen
No,
the movie, The Secret?
no.
Well, it's kind of like, along with visualization is like, hey, if you constantly think about something, that's your goal.
Mhm.
It's the opportunity is gonna be more. So when I was working beach deck, I was like, all right, you know what? I have a very competitive chance at senior chief.
Mhm.
All right, I'm here. Taken care of. I'll make it a point to talk to the waterfront. Who's important?
Mhm.
So I made my
Yeah.
intentions known, and seeing Season Amelia's like, hey, I'd like to talk to command. She's like, you're chief. I was like, well, look, I get the call. I want to go.
Right.
And once I saw I was sincere, they sat me down and everyone there, the Blue Ridge, everyone. So I think that had a big play too.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it's this community, and you'll see. I mean, you've seen some of it, but once you're in it, like people will bend over backwards to help you. You just got to be humble enough to like accept the help. And it's kind of like one of those things that I talked about last night. I don't know if you watched the weekly one or required, but um, like you have to be humble enough to like accept that people genuinely want to help you, right? and get out of your own head and like, thinking that, I don't know, people are trying to take your shit, right? But once you kind of get to that place and you realize that, whether you're command senior chief, command master chief, like you're going through it together, man. And like that is, it's high pressure because, tomorrow is not guaranteed, right? And so like that engenders this support from the whole community, right? Which you're gonna feel in that first job for sure, man. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm so happy for you. I really am. I'm happy for, the command that you're going to too, because I think they're getting a good one, man. So anyways, for what it's worth, dude, I just want to tell you congratulations.
Already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I have a good feeling. Down there. He's ready.
Yeah.
Talking about playing spades. I'm like, I'm not the best spades player from the McCampbell, man. He's like, well, we're going to fix that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Y'all used to be up late playing spades, bro.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, right? Like, you don't want to be as the command senior chief or command master chief. Like, you don't want to be the best spades player because nobody wants to play if you win every time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like that's my excuse.
So-
That's my excuse for having the most L's in the logbook on McCampbell. I was trying to.
Yeah,
man.
that little table, man. You got some hours on that little table.
Oh yeah. That was our reprieve, man. That was our like end of the day. Let's get like an hour and a half in, run like 3 games. Just talk, chop it up about the day, and just kind of like, escape for just an hour or whatever, right? And
An hour?
yeah, whatever. Yeah, it turned into 3 sometimes. Yeah, you remember when?
One time.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying, one time it was after like one of them crazy razzes we had, like old dark 30. It was late,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah,
sure shit, too. And you, Fred, Moser. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And then Carl in the background watching Game of Thrones, like, oh yeah,
hell yeah, hell yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, good
That's the
times,
largest
man.
quartermaster I've seen in my life.
Yeah, yeah, dude. So I got a few things written down. So some of the feedback I've gotten is that like not everybody knows us. So like there might be 5 people that would watch this and just enjoy watching
Yeah.
Aaron and Dean like catch up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the feedback I got for the larger audience is like, tell a few stories to kind of highlight a point that you're trying to make. But if you're just gonna sit there and shoot the shit, like don't record that. So, anyways, I got a few questions for you. So we said congratulations, right? So I kind of want to know how you're feeling, knowing that you're going into this first assignment as a command senior chief. Like you visualized it, you wanted it, and now you got it. And so kind of like what, how are you feeling? Like how are you mentally preparing? What's the biggest fear that you have? What's the biggest concern that you have? What's the thing you're most excited about, right? Like what's in your head right now?
So first thing is like the process. Like what should I be doing leading up to a turnover and getting there? I keep talking about like 90 days. I always hear about that, right? So in preparation for that, I was like, all right, I want to read over my instructions, but what can I read ahead at the command? What kind of like command instructions, things like that I should be preparing for? And I'm going to aviation community. So, I've heard about the different types of relationships and how the squadron norms go. So I could talk about it, but you won't know it until you get in the seat. So I'm thinking about the process and just what are the cultural norms as far as going to a squadron. I talked to one guy. He his first ride he wasn't a squadron, but he came from a sub community. So he wanted to still keep his sub culture, practices, but not trying to come in and try to run a squadron like a sub. You know, they even want some of his background experience for a fresh set of eyes. So, you know, my process is what should I know and just preparing for what kind of cultural differences I'm gonna have to learn so I can really inject and be a good force, you know?
Yeah, I think that's really a key thing for you to think about too, man, is that um, your role is not different in a squadron. You're still the command senior enlisted leader, right? And so you advise the CO, and you lead the mess, and you advocate for the sailors and everybody in the command. So I mean, like, your role doesn't really change, but the way that you enact that role is definitely different. So I'll tell you right off the gate, if you ask any aviation command master chief, the first thing you got to do is like be aligned with your maintenance master chief. You might be a maintenance senior chief there, I don't know, right? But like
Yeah.
if you're it's different from a DDG, right? Like a DDG, I guess you could probably say kind of like your CSMM or your top snipe, but it's different, right? Like your maintenance master chief
Yeah.
he's the dude, right? When it comes to making sorties and getting those aircraft in the air, like he is like the nexus of everything that happens, right? So having like a very good relationship with that person is critical. And I've seen it good and I've seen it bad. And when it's good, like that squadron is firing on all cylinders, the chief's mess is engaged. When it's bad, it creates a lot of problems, right? So that would be my advice, I guess. But I've never been a CMC in a squadron. I was just looking at it I was a brand new chief in the squadron, but I could see it. You know what I mean? And I remember when it was good, and I remember when it was bad. And when it was bad, it really sucked, especially in the mess. So, but yeah, man. And then you've got Doug that you can reach out to that's been doing the job for a while. That I think was a good resource for you too.
Yep.
So what is the thing that makes you most nervous? How's that?
I'm not too nervous because I want to get down there. I'm kind of chomping at the bit, you know.
Mhm.
Well, let me backtrack. I'm not supposed to answers. I'm supposed to know where to find the answers, but I still want to have that working knowledge to be like, hey, sir, ma'am, hey, I know, like the baseline knowledge. Hey, it is in accordance with this. I know when I used it on this last command, this scenario. Let me go back and get the firm answer. But you have a window to get that answer. You want to keep that trust.
Yeah.
So when I'm earning the trust, I want to make sure that I'm able to meet that, not a timeline, but still be, expedient in getting the answer and the way forward and giving good recommendations to earn and keep that trust.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Because they're going to ask you some wild things, and I don't know. So the VX squadrons, is it 05, 04? Probably
05.
05, yeah.
And it's unique. They have like a three-headed leadership because they have SEAL, XO, and the test pilot. And then the test pilot actually fleets up CO.
Okay.
So that's something I'm very interested in learning, that dynamic as the SEL to learn, because I'm going through the process. I heard, hey, yes, you advise the CO, but we're on one team. You're working to build a relationship with the XO. I mean, I saw it as finest before, when I see it really worked, but now you have like a third party, not the third party, but a third branch of leadership that's unique. That's something that I really want to see how that works.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think, look, you're going to be fine. I think we all know that, right? But the main thing is that you just want to show up and be like positive energy, right? And because positivity will go a long way. Like even in the face of like negativity, if you can just maintain your positivity, something I definitely learned in my first tour. It's hard, man. It's hard, especially if nobody else feels like being positive. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna go over here and be negative too. God damn it! Like, fuck it. you know.
I
But
mean, you be positive as long as you acknowledge we have an idea of what's been happening the previous, month, 6 months, or year
mhm,
before you got there. Like, hey, I understand we're here, but I understand that it's been a rough ride, but we got to keep going forward, make the mission. So
yeah.
I'm not trying to say like it's over, but let's get the good momentum. Let's get some wins. You know.
Well, I mean, look, dude, you told me this, and I use it all the time. I told Rev this when I talked to him the other day, and it's straight from
Mm.
you. And I told him this, right? So, you have to understand the culture that you're inheriting, right? He told me that when I got to McCampbell, and I remembered that, and I mean, I keep it, right? I keep that in my hip pocket anywhere I go. Like, I got that from you. Like, you have to understand, you have to appreciate, you have to really look into the culture that you're inheriting, because like I said, yeah, you want to be positive, you have all these great ideas, but you may get there and they're like, they got some serious problems. And so all the great ideas and the great things you want to do may have to go on the back burner until you fix some of those, real problems that the command has, right? Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, dude. All right. Uh, So left McCampbell and want to talk about your current job. We talked about this before, as you were ramping up to take these orders. And, I talked to you about some of the challenges that I had when I did it in Hawaii. Um, and we haven't really circled back on kind of what it's been. It's been about 2 years now that you've been in the job. So
Oh
how's
no,
it
yeah.
been working with, the Wounded Warrior program?
So I'm hitting the stride now. Um, when I first got here, it was in the what was it? I checked in November of 2020, and it had COVID. So when I checked in, everyone's working virtual, but the two non-medical care managers that were there, they said, "Hey, it's gonna be a year if you know what you're doing, and COVID is not doing you any favors because there's a lot of talking in person with the sailors and Coast Guardsmen." So now that some of the restrictions are alleviated, it is better to really have people come in office, sit them
Mm,
down, like, hey, what are your prospects? So just for everybody, my job is a non-medical case manager, Wounded Warrior. So what I do is, we advocate for services for anyone who is limited duty for a short amount of time or an extended amount of time, if they're facing return to duty or if they're looking to possibly be separated. We're just trying to make sure that they know about the resources available to them. We can advocate for them for their chain of command. Kind of help them talk through some of the scenarios and the best practices to help them transition the best way, whether it's back to the fleet or if they're transitioning to back to being a civilian. So,
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about, the COVID piece of it. I guess that really limited a lot of the face-to-face interactions you had with people. So you were probably doing your intakes, like I would imagine over the phone type thing mostly.
yeah, over the phone, that iPhone, we want to make sure you're able to see the person because
Right.
I'm
That's
doing the
important.
intake and I'm like, hey, yeah, like, hey, you know what? As I talked to the sailor that they had a hard time uh, recollecting their care because hey, they're having challenges with cognitive as far as remembering things, and that can help us identify resources they need. So now being able to see them, it does
Mhm.
kind of limit making a good assessment for what I think that chief might need to talk to this person. Like it might come
Mhm.
in a wheelchair. I didn't know that. Hey,
Right.
you are you able to get? Do you have a rant? Like what's going on? I had that before. Finally met the person and they came in a wheelchair. I'm like, how'd you get here? Oh, my wife drives me. You have transportation. You
Mhm.
know,
Right.
so it's key.
Yes, that
Yeah.
face-to-face piece is super important. Like having them in your office, you can put eyes on. And there's just something about, like, even with this, this podcast, totally different thing, but we try to like keep the conversation, as genuine as we can, but there's something about this face to face thing, right? Like And especially in your job, yeah, it helps you identify things, but you can just catch a vibe from somebody, right? Like, man, this person is like in dire straits. Like, I'm like, all right, man, we need to circle the wagons quickly because I'm kind of worried about this person, you know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then just for me as a chief, the mess is a big part of the job because,
Mhm.
you know, I'm working with several commands. It'll be the same commands in the area. So if I'm able to, make the relationships, like, hey, oh, it's it's Joe Smith down on the pack. Oh, I was down there last weekend. I just, went to their command picnic. We
Yeah.
would do things like hearing from the guys pre-COVID. That's what they would do after they would, talk to their sailors and make their case management notes. They were hitting the road like rodeo style, saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
GS CS Alejo, you know,
Mhm.
and if you happen to, be injured, just come talk to us and see if we could be of assistance." And that was key. So
Yeah.
now we're starting to hit that stride a little bit as
That's
I'm
good,
leaving.
man. Yeah. I mean,
But
but I think everybody's getting back into their stride post COVID right now, trying to remember how we did things before and how effective they were. And there's some resistance to that, like, oh, I kind of like teleworking, right? But,
yeah,
it feels like that we're getting our stride back in a lot of places. Excuse me. And I remember, when I was in the job too, just what you just said, like how critical the Chiefs mess is to our sailors. I mean, we know it. We know it like when we're on the ship doing the hard job or, when we come to an installation and, it's kind of still, executing a mission. It's just a different kind of mission. It's support rather than actually going over the horizon. But, and so you understand how like critical a Chiefs mess is. But when I was in the job in Hawaii that you're doing, it occurred to me like, holy cow, like nothing happens, good or bad, if the Chiefs aren't involved. Like, and even
yeah,
my contractor that worked with me when I was there, we were 6 months, 8 months into it. It's the first time she had ever worked with the Navy, and I remember she was like, she was like, I just cannot believe how much the Chiefs do in the Navy. And sometimes it was bad, right? Like, I can't get an answer from this
yeah,
guy. And if he doesn't answer, then like, I'm not going to get what I need for this sailor. And,
yeah,
but it's highlighted, I think in the job that you're doing right now.
yeah. But we had a couple of sailors that went Lindo and McCampbell, and mission goes on, and it's kind of cold hearted, sight out of mind. But
Mm-hmm.
they leave, and you're like, all right, well, we have whatever op and all this stuff. So having a program like that where if I can call someone and say, hey, I talked to Chief Chief Daniels or Chief Williams, and they say, hey, look, we got your sailor, we'll take care of them. That's kind of reassuring.
Yeah.
They're not our kids, but that's still our family. We
Yeah.
want to make sure. I remember you said it in a previous episode, like we have a responsibility to build them up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Make them
Yeah.
better than how we got them. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're like, man, it's kind of unfinished business. You're like, man, I don't want to neglect them. So having that human piece, knowing you got a brother or sister that's going to take care of your people, our
Right.
people, it
Right.
does make you feel like, all right, I can really focus on what we got going on. He's taken care of. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
In the
I tell you,
division too.
man. Yeah. I advocated tirelessly, and I understand why it never happened. But so let's just say Yokosuka, right? And we can talk about Rhoda or other places, right? But let's talk about Yokosuka specifically. Like,
Yeah,
largest Navy base outside of the United States and a fleet concentration area. I don't know what else you would call it, right? It's got an aircraft carrier,
yeah,
10 different ships, NAFSUP FLC, it's got a full SRF, it's got a Navy Munitions Command. Like, if that's not a fleet concentration area, I don't know what is, right? And so some people were like,
yeah,
well, but we don't put like case managers in Rhoda. I was like, because it's not the same. They got 4 destroyers there. You know what I mean? And so
yeah,
I was always like, you need a case manager in Yokosuka, because you are missing tons of sailors, um, that maybe aren't, at that level that they spring a personnel casualty report, right? But
Yeah.
they're bad enough that they should get some assistance from the program, right? Um,
Yeah.
but deaf ears, funding, you know how it goes. So
It's gonna happen. I mean, think of training. The freaking scramble to try to figure out, okay, we're in port, for 2 days. All right, you two are gonna fly off to San Diego. You two are gonna fly to Hawaii for school. We're gonna pick up this port visit. Oh, you know what? That got canceled. When are we getting them back? Now I'm seeing people that
yeah,
are down the street getting training, OS training. Remember, he's down
yeah,
there training AICs right down the street.
love it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Free
yeah,
concentration area actually home growing from your coast. I love seeing that. So
yeah.
maybe,
That's
hopefully,
awesome,
that'll be
man.
the same thing for Navy Wonder Warrior. So,
Yeah, I hope so. Um, so have they talked to you about when you're rolling yet?
quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah, of course you are. That's how it
Yeah, it's
works,
looking
bro.
like
Get used to it.
first calls. How soon can you move? I'm like, I can move pretty quick. All right. So it's looking like it's gonna be next month.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get into CMC Cop end of the month and then report the middle of May.
So I told you when I got to McCampbell, and I stand by this,
Mm.
best course of instruction in my entire naval career, CMC Cobb. It's unbelievable, bro. Unfreaking believable, right? And they have JJ Gonzalez there at Inlet now, who is like the best guy for the job in the entire Navy. He's high energy.
I've heard his name.
He was my class mentor when I went through, and I've known him for a long time through like Ty Giles. He's kind of like through that path, and he was a Hawaii and Guam guy, but JJ is the right guy for that job because he leads from his heart, man. He is the most genuine, authentic person you ever meet, and like I'm telling you, when you go to that class, you're gonna come out of it like, I'm ready to run through some brick walls. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's how
it's
that's how
pretty
you
high.
were your first meeting. We saw it.
I know.
First thing is you said,
I know.
"All right, y'all. Look, I'm Dean. Please don't call me Thomas. All right, and this is my dream job."
Yeah.
Did you just? Yeah, you meant that shit. And yeah, you did. You're
Yeah.
like, it's my dream job. That's us come off the haze of 10,000 underway. It's like, man, you got a lot of energy, man. All right, we'll pull up to the test, like 300. Oh, we'll pull up to the test. Yeah, stuck with
Yeah.
it though.
Yeah.
Stuck with
For
it.
sure, man. So I'm excited for you. All right, man. So let's circle back to some non, I guess, Navy type stuff. So I know some stuff
Mm.
about you, but I don't know as much as I want to know about you, right? So I know you're from New York. I know you cheer for the sorry ass Knicks, sorry ass Giants. So I don't know.
Glutton for punishment.
Are you a Mets or a
Oh,
Yankees fan?
Mets.
Yeah, you definitely are glutton for
So,
punishment.
all right, I'll let you continue. So you want to know my background?
Yeah, what's your background, man? Yeah, give
All
give
right,
me the
all right,
rundown of Aaron Paul.
all right. So, all right, first person born in my family in the States. Okay, my mother, she was from Guyana, South America.
Mhm.
So it's the only English-speaking country in South America. Culturally, it's like the Caribbean. Dad's from Jamaica. All right. They met in New York. So I was born in New York, born in Brooklyn. Spent first what my life in. Then my mom, she was in England.
Mm.
So I went to England. I was there for 2 years. Had a little British accent and everything. Right. Came back. Went down with my grandmother to Guyana for a year. I was a world traveler, right? Because mom was
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
Go back to New York, living there for what? So I was about what, 5, 6,
Mm.
right? Oh, it was time in Maryland. We moved around a lot. And the bulk of my life was in New Orleans.
Mm.
So I spent the good chunk of my life is New Orleans, Ninth Ward.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Every summer I was in New York. Every summer I go home to my cousins and I come with that the New Orleans accent. They beat it out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Like, why are you
that's me.
talking like that? It was weird.
I'm like, man, come on, man. Book. Like, book. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
so to New York, I was in high school in New Orleans, all the way school. Like, Cat, New Orleans, same.
Mm.
You got every in those private schools in New Orleans. If I think the Manning brothers at high school,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Duval, Aid, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I went back to New York 15 and joined the Navy from there. You know,
Yeah.
supposed to be in the Marines, by the way.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what you joined in what 2000? 2000, right?
2000. Yeah,
Okay. So where were you on 9/11?
I was on U.S. Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Just got done with it, and it was like we were hitting all the parts.
Yeah.
Like next up about the captain was really, we got visits, our pockets real fat. He got flying. So I don't head home. Supposed to go to Brazil. We did an unwrap, and it was like late. Hit my rack, and here I was commotion.
Mm.
Man, if y'all don't shut up, man.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, man, turn that movie off. So my friend
Mm.
Andy Batista, kid from the Bronx, like, oh, bro, this ain't no movie, yo. I was like, what? And that's where I was for 9/11. First deployment, supposed to go away home, supposed to hit Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
and we just felt. I never felt something turn so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then y'all headed out, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My perspective changed a lot after that.
For sure, man. I think it changed all of us. It's crazy to think that like our kids, they don't understand it, man. I don't, you can't be upset about it. It is what it is. It's how do you describe that feeling, right? I was at boot camp. I was in boot camp, man. Dude came back from dental. He's like, an airplane just hit the World Trade Centers. We're like, shut up, dude. What are you talking about? He's like, no, seriously, I saw it on the news. I'm like, no. Like, that's weird. Like, how, like, I'm thinking like small Cessna, like, got off course, right?
Yeah,
In comes Senior Morrison, right? You know this, Mr. RDC. Abandoned ship. Push all the racks out, right?
Time to get beat.
That's what we thought. We're like, what do we do?
Like, what do we do?
Like, we're like 4
Yeah,
days out, man. Like, what do we do? We're about to like pass and review. Like, what's the deal? And
yeah.
he brought in a cassette tape. They had the old TVs, right? And
Mm.
he had recorded it at home. He put in a cassette tape and played both of them getting hit because by that point both of them had been hit, right? And dude, and like first of all, the first thing he said was, "Well, looks like you are getting a ribbon."
Only we are messed up people, man.
Anyway, but I don't know, man. You're already coming off for me. I'm already coming off. You're fired up, man. It's boot camp, right? Like I'm ready to go change the world. And, I am a United States sailor. Like you ready? And then this
Yeah,
happens. It's just like, find out who did that, and let's go fucking kill all of them, right? Like that. That's
yeah.
playing through my head, right? And
That was
and
the
then
vibe for us in boot camp because we had the cold. I was doing
that's right.
service week,
Yeah.
so we're sitting there, and guys come in. I'm working in the scullery, slaving. Guys come in. We're going to war. I'm like, we're taking out trash. Shut up, man. He's like, nah, man. This ship blew up. I'm like, what do you mean ship blew up? The RC told us like, hey, I went to coal. And it's kind of like it was a real sinking feeling, but I still think it kind of like got lulled to sleep. Some people,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I'll be honest, man. I was not taking the Navy as serious
Mm-hmm.
up until that happened. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I got I got aunts and uncles that were NYPD. You hear nothing, everything you hear nothing. So it was like a real sick feeling. And I'm like my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. You walk in the mess decks and you see all the ordnance, people signing it, and it was just like,
Yeah.
you know, that homecoming, man,
Yeah.
nothing like it. It
Imagine.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, it changed us. I mean, those of us that can put our finger on, I think, there's some old heads that have been doing it longer than us, right? But they're getting close to 30 years. And, some of them,
Yeah.
maybe they hear this conversation like, but I think there's something for those of us that came in that 2000 and 2001 range, right? Um, just before 9/11 and maybe just after, right? I think that
Mm-hmm.
just our experience in the Navy is so like until very recently, we had been at war like my entire career, and
Yeah.
and there's like this idea of like peacetime, steaming. It's a foreign concept to us, and
Yeah.
I think that 20 years from now, we'll probably look back and see kind of what the effect of 20 years of war ends up being on people, right? But I don't know. It's just, and I'm not saying feel sorry for me. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like it's been emotionally fucking demanding, right, for 20 years straight, right?
Yeah.
So
You're talking like two generations. It's like I listened to a podcast the other day, and he was saying how people who were in that first wave of Afghanistan, then the first wave of Iraq, they're looked at differently compared to the guys who were there, 7 or 8 or 9 years into it. Like, hey, I was in Iraq. When? Back in '07. Like, what? Man,
yeah,
you're old for real. What was that like? And it's like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but yeah,
I mean, we were sending, I remember it was '04, from the Essex, we sent 31st Mu into Second Battle of Fallujah, right? Like '04, bro. Like that was before the surge. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And they didn't all make it back, and we don't talk about that, right? But they didn't all make it back. I think we all know that, and yeah, it's just I don't know. It's I think that's one of the things that really hit. And look, I'm not a guy that was ever downrange, right? But I can only
mhm,
imagine, and I have friends that were, what that feeling was like to. And I don't mean to. Don't take this as me like commenting politically because I'm not, right? But just to see how that whole thing in Afghanistan unfolded. If I were a guy that had spent multiple deployments over there, and like I can only imagine how I would have felt, and I don't have to imagine because I talked to a bunch of guys that were right, and it was
I
this
see
kind
a
of
lot of guys with Walter Reed like that right now. A lot of guys are
mm,
retired and they're, I'm
yeah,
smirking, but they were not in the best spirits. They had different, varying levels of frustration, some relief, but it was
yeah,
fleeting. It kind of immediately went to, like I lost family because of this. Don't minimize it, and this is how it comes to. So, yeah,
yeah,
I feel that folks been doing at Walter Reed for that perspective really kind of put got me thinking in a different way. I appreciate
yeah, yeah, dude. I didn't even think about that. I can only imagine it. Some of the folks that you probably most likely, and I know because again, I've done your job right, but not at Walter Reed, where I can only imagine some of the stories that you end up hearing, being a case manager there, right? Like, I was in Hawaii, so it was pretty mild. I mean, you're in the mix of it. Like, that is the Grand Central Station of folks that require assistance. You know what I mean?
You walk the hospital. I'm taking a point of deal for a transfer. Just walking the floors of the hospital, you see different tributes and different memorials and just randomly on the walls,
Hmm.
and it'll just hit you. And I'm like, if my kids saw that, they'd be, oh wow, it's kind of like a history thing. It's like probably served with someone that might have known this. So it's like a history lesson for our kids, but for us, it's events of our life that transpired during our lifetime. You know.
Isn't that a weird thing? That's a weird concept to think about, right? That um, the things that we are experiencing now firsthand um, will be history that people will talk about. Like, history. Like, not like, oh, you know, Dean went to the gym yesterday history. Like, Dean has a podcast history, like history. Like, Second Battle of Fallujah, like the withdrawal from Afghanistan, like there's a fucking war in Europe, right? Like, what the fuck, man? You know what I'm saying?
You ever catch yourself talking to people about history? Count place for us. Like for me, I was in the call Vincent from '09 to
Mm,
13, and that's with Bin Laden. I was on watch, and I checked in the hospital that was carrying his remains. So people are like, yo, this the memory, and you got the red pad eye and all this, and I'm like, yeah, man, that day was crazy, man. Hey, you trying to get Wendy's? Like, oh, you want a Vincent? But oh yeah, you kind of relief. We're talking about the last Haitian earthquake, but then you know before it was like, oh yeah, I remember we was down there, boots on ground. Like, what? Yeah, we're doing relief and we're giving out water and all that. You were there for that? Yeah. Like, oh, well, you want to talk about it? I'm like, no, not really. you know?
but doesn't it feel like that if we don't talk about it, that we're not? And I understand that, like, we talk about it in small circles, maybe with the people that work for us or with our friends, and I think that has some value, in your ability to influence those people that work for you, or your friends, and maybe help them have a better day or have a new perspective on life. But it kind of feels like if we are not telling those stories like out loud, that
Mhm.
that somebody's going to tell them for us, right? And they're going to steal our narrative, right? And I'd rather hear it from somebody that was there than from somebody that observed from afar. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we gotta speak it into existence because I don't want it to be. I don't I don't like it being a note of history. I want it to be something that's lived by people that are living rather than before it becomes a note of history. Like the
Yeah.
coal, right? Um, I had the privilege of serving with the RDC that she was on the coal. My warrant officer I had in my first command on Enterprise, he was on the coal. So, we had some new chiefs that were talking about the coal during season. And it's kind of happenstance, like, yeah, this happened. And there were actually people in the auditorium that were on the coal.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I don't appreciate your nonchalance as because you don't know who was here. How about a disclaimer like, hey, is there anybody who lost someone who served on, you know, this just shit we talk about it. When he
Yeah.
said that, it was like, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
For sure,
pay
man.
respect to the seriousness of this.
Yeah, and I mean, without mentioning names, we saw that with sailors that were on fits. Same thing.
Still,
You mention it in the wrong context, and it's to the moon, which is totally understandable. Um, but yeah, so I don't know, man. I think that part of me doing this thing, and I think probably the biggest part of me starting a podcast was, and I've said this on multiple episodes, is because I know some cool fucking people, like a lot of them at this point, and and their stories deserve to be in the wild, right? Like out there, and that's your story, and that's Chris Norris, and that's Diana Rogers, who I sat down with, and unless all y'all start writing books, then like nobody's going to hear your story. And so I want to give everybody that I know that has had an awesome life experience, that has something to share that'll help improve somebody's situation. I just want to be like that opportunity for somebody to put it out there, like what they think about life, what struggles they've had, what good they've done. Because I think the more that stuff is out there, the more opportunity for people to take it on with what they're doing and possibly, get better, improve, right? And it helps me too, right? Like when I talk to people, I'm like, okay, well, maybe you shouldn't be such a piece of shit, Dean, because like all these people expect you to be doing more, right?
Yeah. Your last weekly one arm, I listened to it today. Now I'll tell you one challenge, circling back to your first question about me in the program, I've been battling that imposter syndrome or those thoughts, those demons. And it's kind of like, oh, I got selected, that's great, but man, who am I? I'm a fraud, right? Who am I? And then listen to you, you're like, nah, you've done this, you got this. These badass people have vouched saying that they have confidence in you to go lead and to advise, right? Amanda, she's like, you've been in the Navy almost 22 years. You've been privileged to serve like all parts of the country. You got to be in RDC. You got to be on a destroyer in Japan, right? All your experiences. So you're bringing all this. So who are you to not, really like grow and like accept the praise that you've earned? You are that good. You are worthy. You are that badass. Maybe that's the next check. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, I don't know, man. It kind of goes back to the thing that I was talking about, haters. It's just hard to accept it, right? Because you know yourself better than anybody does, and so you know that you know your own imperfections, your own daily struggles, and so all the good that you know and that you have to share and to give to people, you're hesitant to do it because you know that you've got those problems that you don't want to put out to everybody necessarily, right? But I think that, I don't know, what Amanda said is exactly right. You are worthy, right? You're worthy of the praise. You're worthy to speak with authority because you've had the experience, right? And that's what I'm telling you and telling myself at the same time. We are worthy to get this out there, to share what we know, and to say, here's how you should do things. Even if I don't do it every time my fucking self, right? I am worthy to say, I know the right way to fucking do it, and I'm trying to do it too, right?
Yeah. Well, I've been around people who've done it way better. I might not have done it, but I was great to be in their presence, and I learned that lesson through watching them. So I'm telling you, proof's in the pudding, But that's why I'm kind of more confident. Like, I am that good. I was with you, right? I came from a great coaching tree. And I was talking with Rev. I was like, hey, I know you got the new part of the master. You can talk to them, but I think you talk to Dean. He's like, why? I was like, yo, man, I'm not saying other CMCs and other historians can't speak to the old crap moments, but you took a lot, man. I'm telling you. He's like, yeah, like plus, he came off some good stock. I was like, hey, he came off the Sue Whitman coaching tree. He's like, for real? I said that? He's like, oh yeah, hold, let me make sure I give him a shout. Because I
Yeah.
vouch like, hey man, Dean, he kind of steered me right, but he through. So I kind of got mentorship through Sue's Whitman. I got to serve with, you know, seems to be Beldo, right?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
first time we met, I was like, RTC, who was there? I was there with Sean Isabel, Izzy. You were like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I know when he put you through season. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he's a good draft pick. Got you. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation with Rev. He's going to do great, dude. Like he is a bundle of energy and positivity, and I think he'll be able to take the hits, right? And that's not to get into everything we talked about, but we had a great conversation, and I told him just call me, like, and this is for anybody. I may not have the most experience, but um, I can talk you through some shit because I've been through some shit. So,
Well,
all right,
you
dude.
got this innate talent. Now, Sam, you always recall the names of everyone you meet. Maybe you got like Tom Brady eidetic memory. You like, I don't know, man. Hey, talk to Billy Krasevsky. I got his number. Hey, talk to him. Like, how do you recall hitting him up?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I did. Like, yeah, how'd it go with him? Bet. Money, dude. All right. Like, how do you
So
know that?
I'll tell you, man, what I'm finding out about myself recently is that I get the most joy in life by connecting people. Like, I don't know, it's my passion. I love it. And networking, I guess, but not really. It's more like somebody that I know, that has this idea or this project that they're working on, and I'm like, I know somebody that might be really interested in helping you with that. And
I
and
know a guy.
so I know a guy, right? I know a guy. And so
I know a
like
guy.
I was talking about like with Matt, he's putting on what he's doing is he's doing a veterans benefit concert / music festival / chili cook-off in the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Chili cook-off. Jeez.
Dude, so he's doing this. It's like, I mean, what they're going to do is they're going to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he's in the roofing industry, and then they're going to take all of those proceeds and they're going to put new roofs on Vet's house, right? So it's awesome. It's an awesome project that he's got going, and I was like, So I know a guy over here. I know a guy over here. I know a guy over
You
here.
said roofing.
Right?
I know a guy who's in Texas, a veteran, prior CS Corman.
There you go.
I'm like, hey, do you know Steve Valdez? No, all right, he's a card, starts business after he got out roofing in Texas. Yeah, we'll definitely, I'm gonna make sure to do that.
Yeah, hit me up because I'd like to link them up, right? But the point is, like and I love doing it, and I think that we, like in the mess, we're real good at that in the Chiefs mess. And I'm not to say that like there aren't other sections of society that are real good at it too. There's people that are better networkers than me, right? But I think as men, we don't do it enough. Like we're not helping each other out the way we should, man. Like when 5 of us do well, it's better than 1 of us doing well, right? And I think that's the mentality we all need to have. Is like, all right, dude, I'm on to something. I'm moving forward. I got this business, whatever it is, right? Hey, let me tell about 4 or 5 people about it. Like, y'all come on with me. We're gonna go do this thing together, right? And I think in society, like men need to do more of that for each other.
I mean, we're making progress though, right? I'm looking at even with you with the platform. It's like we had talks before, like we're always talking leadership, different books, like, and you made a mention of it. It's like, the special operator community, SEAL, SWIX, the Rangers, they're always talking leadership and experiences. I'm like, that's great, and that's cool. Everybody can't be Charles Bronson though. You know what I'm saying? Like, Charles Bronson, older. I'll tell you a story about my son. I was telling my son about Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson in '80s movies. Well, I'm different than him, but what I'm making is like back to connections, right? And seeing for the community, right? Looking at you, and then permission to speak freely, and and Cutlass, and that you guys are building that network. That as a community, I guess. I love seeing it. I
It's
listened
fun,
to
man.
one episode from Don't Give Up the Ship today. Loved it. It was like, I felt like I told Damo, I was like, I really listen to certain podcasts, and I'm getting my mess fix that I was missing because of COVID. You know?
Yeah.
Like I really was missing. I really feel like I'm in the conversation.
Right?
Yeah. Like I came in, got the coffee, smoked. What the hell y'all doing? And some over there talking about this. I'm like, for real? You pull up the seat, you start chopping it up. I'm glad to get back. That's one thing I definitely want to do when I get down to facts. Like I'm hitting, I don't know if it's the hanger or the line. I'm hitting it. I'm like, hey, what y'all doing Friday? The same way we did CPO Club in Yokosuka. My pops flare like, hey, I'm going 1500. Yeah. Go. Squat up.
We call it the 2 and 3. You just do like this. Toward the end of the day, you make eye contact with somebody, and you're like, right? And they're like,
no.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I wasn't doing Chu High stand, old man Chu High. I wasn't doing that.
Dude, did you know old man died?
Did he?
Yeah.
Because I thought that was like a fake meme.
No, he died. It's been about maybe, I don't know, 18 months ago or something. That's pretty much when I got up here. So the son's running in. He's a real fucking asshole. I don't like him. But yeah, it sounds like old man. Sounds like old man.
Only the 7th Fleet Yokosuka like veterans to know his son's running it. Me, I'm like, old man died? Oh man. You were like, oh man, his freaking son, that ass. Yeah, he's got it. Like,
Yeah.
Or like, who was it? Lieutenant Commander Hayes. He has his own drink and his own section.
Yeah.
At, what was it? At
New
Texas?
Yeah, New Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the Raptors, retired. Randy Hayes. Oh, wow.
He and I are going to link up soon. I can't talk about it here. I'll talk about it offline. But he's about to fleet up, man. So I am super happy for him. All right, dude. So real quick, we're at an hour. I like to keep these things right about an hour. So let's run down some sports picks real quick, right? Super Bowl.
Now in freaking month.
Yep.
Super Bowl. Calling Bills in NFC.
Did you say Packers?
No, Bucks.
Oh, the Bucks. Yeah, I got the Bills and Packers.
Super Bowl.
I got the Bills and Packers. Yep, and I got Aaron Rodgers winning his second Super Bowl. That's what I
got. You're high.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I know, probably. It's all good. So closest alligator to the canoe is NBA. Who you got? Not
Phoenix.
the Knicks, I'll tell you that.
I got,
but it ain't the Rockets either, so whatever.
Oh yeah, so I got Phoenix, Miami, and I got Phoenix beating Miami.
Yeah, I think it's Phoenix's turn.
I think CP3 is due.
Yeah, I think it's Phoenix's turn. I don't know about Miami. I haven't been paying as much attention as I should, but I like Tatum up in Boston, man. I don't know if they're going to make a run. I don't know if they got everything they need to make a run, but that dude is a freaking beast, man. He is an animal.
Yeah,
like he's in play.
He signed off by Mamba, so yeah. But I think Miami got in a fight in the sidelines. That's good for them. They're kind of rowdy.
Yeah.
I love it. Spoelstra got hands.
Yeah.
He's all mild-mannered. Filipino, man.
Like cut a motherfucker. So, all right, dude, we won't talk baseball because I don't really give a shit. I mean, Astros. There you go. Every year, Astros.
Soccer.
Hey, man, you like my hats? Look at that.
Yeah.
I need to get you some of this, man. Look, I'm not making any money on this, but check that out, man. That's legit, bro? Right? It's like a license plate.
I like the
like
black and gray joint.
Yeah, so that one is the Texan connection. So Texas actually, of course, Texas does. like they make a special edition black license plate that you can get for your vehicle, and it looks just like that, right? And so fitted, they got the little logo on the back. I mean, it's like a solid hat, bro. Like, so, I'd appreciate it. Just look, hey, I'm a rising sun. You're a rising sun. Everybody we know is rising suns, right? That's the way I look at it.
I get the Louisiana joint, man. I get that one. Louisiana, rep my other roots.
There you go. There you go.
Rock that Stetson you got, man. Yeah, rock that Stetson you got.
I'm not going to pull it out of the box and put it on. That's like a $500 hat, by the way. So
yeah, I know.
I probably should wear it more often.
Yeah, the girl's trying to upgrade you, man.
Yeah, man. Made me get like a sports coat to wear my boots and everything, man. I went to dinner with them though, and I wore a sports coat with a t-shirt, and they're like, I was like, okay, just stop, please. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Your girls are ruthless, man. They really was it Hazel?
Oh yeah, dude, they're savages. That's the way I love it.
Straight raw. What do you think about this? I don't, Dad.
Freaking savages.
Girls will do it.
I love it. I love it. They're fucking Amazons. Like, that's the way I want them. I want them to go out there and rule the fucking world, man. So, anyways.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Let's call it a stopping point. Again, I just want to tell you I love you. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to see what the next chapter holds for you. And I'll do anything for you, man. Like, no shit. If you need anything, ever.
Noted.
I know you know that. Like, but reach out. Do not hesitate day or night. I love you, man. I'm proud of you.
Well, you too, man. Stay relentless.
No doubt.
Peace.